Why do you want more if you are not going to have big expenses anymore? $500 a month. Out of the more than $8,000 a month that my properties generated in rent, my own son considered that $500 was more than enough for me. Oh, but how generous, I told them with the sweetest smile I could fake. $500 a month. With that, I can even afford my medicine. Sarah laughed. Oh, Mom, always so dramatic. With $500, you will live like a queen. Like a queen, in my own kingdom turned into a beggar by my own subjects. Attorney Herrera placed the documents in front of me and extended a pen. Here's everything, ma'am. We just need your signature on these 5 pages. I took the pen in my trembling hands, and for a moment, everyone in that room believed they had won. I saw the smile of satisfaction on Ryan's face, the sigh of relief from Sophia, the greedy look of Sarah. Before signing, I said, lifting my gaze, "Will you allow me to make a quick little call? I just want to tell my friend Hope that I am finally going to be free of worries." "Sure, Mom," Ryan said to me, "but make it quick." I dialed Attorney Morales' number. When he answered, I put the phone on speaker. "Attorney Morales," I said with a crystal-clear voice, "I am here in Attorney Herrera's office with my children. Is everything ready?" "Perfectly ready, Mrs. Hope." "The lawsuits for fraud are already filed, the freezing of accounts is already executed, and the officers from the district attorney's elder abuse unit already have the arrest warrants." The silence in that room was so deep that you could hear the heartbeat of 4 hearts stopped by terror. In that moment, the world stopped inside that office. Attorney Herrera turned white as toilet paper. Ryan stood up so fast he knocked his chair to the floor. Sarah brought her hands to her mouth as if she were going to vomit. Sophia, my baby, looked at me with the widest eyes I have ever seen in my life. "What are you talking about, ma'am?" the attorney stammered, trying to regain control of the situation. I continued talking on the phone as if nothing had happened. "Attorney Morales, could you confirm for me how much money we recovered from the fraudulent accounts before they closed them?" $62,400, Mrs. Hope. We managed to block the accounts right before they made another large transfer. Ryan lunged toward me and snatched the phone. "What the hell is going on here?" He screamed at me with a face I had never seen on him. He was no longer my affectionate son. He was a furious and desperate stranger. "Sit down, Ryan," I told him with a voice that even I did not recognize. It was a hard, cold voice, the voice of a woman who was no longer afraid of anything. "And shut your mouth, because you have not heard even half of it." I stood up from my chair, and for the first time in months, I felt taller than all of them. "Did you seriously believe your mother was as stupid as you thought?" "Mom, we don't understand what you are talking about," Sophia said to me with a trembling voice, still trying to maintain the charade. "You don't understand?" I laughed, and my laugh sounded like breaking glass. "You don't understand why there are officers from the district attorney's office waiting outside this building. You don't understand why all the credit cards that Ryan took out in my name are already canceled, and he must pay out of his pocket the $89,000 he spent on luxuries." Attorney Herrera had stood up and was hurriedly packing his papers. "I did not know anything about this," he murmured. "Your children told me that you were in agreement." "You didn't know anything," I snapped at him. "You didn't know that it is a crime to help scam an elderly person. You didn't know that your law license is worth less than toilet paper when they catch you helping these crooks." Sarah began to cry. It was not a cry of repentance. It was a cry of pure dread. "Mom, we just wanted to take care of you. Take care of me," I interrupted her. "Stealing $120,000 from me is taking care of me. Planning to declare me insane is taking care of me. Wanting to take away my house, my properties, my bank accounts is taking care of me." Ryan had started walking in circles like a caged animal. "How did you know who told you?" "Son," I told him, with all the coldness I could muster. Do you seriously believe your mother got to where she is without learning to spot liars? Mr. Roberts has been following you for 2 weeks. I have photos of you spending my money recordings of your conversations, planning to rob me copies of all the fraudulent documents you signed with my name. Mike, who had been quiet this whole time, stood up and headed toward the door. I am getting out of here, he said. I have nothing to do with this. Sit down, Mike, I ordered him, because you have a lot to do with this. It was you who took Ryan to a loan shark to take out money against my properties. $50,000 that you are now going to have to pay because the properties are already protected in a trust that you will never be able to touch. The office door opened, and 2 officers from the district attorney's office entered. One of them, a tall man with a mustache, headed directly toward Ryan. Ryan Mendoza. Yes, that is me. My son stuttered. You are under arrest for fraud, forgery of documents, and financial abuse against an elderly person. You have the right to remain silent. While they read Ryan his rights, Sophia threw herself at my feet as if she were a little girl. Mom, forgive me. Please forgive me. It was Ryan's idea. Get up, I told her without a shred of compassion. Get up and walk with dignity, because what is coming now is only the beginning. The second officer approached Attorney Herrera. Are you Jesus Herrera? I have immunity. This is a confusion, stammered the man who minutes before saw me as a defenseless old woman. You are also under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud and the illegal practice of the profession. While they took Ryan and the lawyer away in handcuffs, my 3 remaining children looked at me as if I were a monster they did not recognize. Mom, Sarah said to me with a broken voice, we are your family. No, I answered her, picking up my purse and walking toward the door. You are strangers who share my blood. My family are the people who respect me, truly love me, and would never betray me for money. Before leaving, I turned one last time toward them. Oh, and in case you are wondering, Ryan is going to face between 5 and 8 years in prison. The civil lawsuits are going to cost you everything you stole, plus damages, and none of you are going to see a single dollar of my inheritance. I walked out of that office with my head held high, knowing that the war was just beginning, but that I had already won the most important battle. I had recovered my dignity and my power, but I still needed to teach the biggest lesson of all. The days that followed that confrontation in the corrupt lawyer's office were the strangest of my life. Ryan was in jail awaiting his trial. The rest of my children called me day and night, crying, begging, threatening, trying to convince me to drop the lawsuits, but I had other plans. Legal justice was just the first step. The true lesson came later. 3 weeks after Ryan's arrest, I organized a family meeting. I told Sarah, Sophia, and Mike that I wanted to fix things, that perhaps we had been too hard, that we needed to talk as a family. Of course, they took the bait immediately. The appointment was at my house on a Sunday afternoon. I prepared coffee and pastries, just like in the old times when we were a real family. When they arrived, everyone came with faces of hope, thinking that the sentimental old lady had returned and that they were going to be able to manipulate me one more time. Sit down, I told them, pointing to the living room where we had spent so many Christmases, so many birthdays, so many moments that I believed were of true love. Mom. Sophia started with that little girl voice she used when she wanted to get something. We know you are angry, but we are family. Families forgive each other. You are right, Sophia. I told her, serving them coffee in the mugs that they themselves had given me on other birthdays. Families forgive each other, but first I want you to understand exactly what you did. I took out a binder that I had prepared with great care. Inside were all the photographs that Mr. Roberts had taken, all the bank statements, all the recordings of their conversations. Sarah, I said to her, showing her a photo where she appeared toasting with champagne in an expensive restaurant. This photo was taken the day after Ryan asked me for $15,000 for a medical emergency. Do you see the date you were celebrating with my money while lying to my face? Sarah turned red as a tomato. Mom, that doesn't mean... Shut up, I told her with a voice that the walls of my house had never heard. You have not finished seeing everything. I put the receipts for the dinners, the hotels, the expensive gifts they had bought with the money they had stolen from me in front of her. Almost $20,000 in luxuries, while they told me that Ryan was going through hard times. Mike, I continued turning toward my son-in-law. Do you remember when you told me that you needed borrowed money for your mom's operation, $5,000, that you never paid back? Mike avoided my gaze. It's just that things got difficult. Lie, I snapped, placing a photo of him buying a giant flat-screen television the next day in front of him. $5,000 that turned into a TV to watch football. Your mom's operation was paid for by Social Security. But the worst came when I took out the transcripts of the recordings. I started to read to them word for word their own conversations, where they made fun of me, where they planned to declare me incompetent, where they talked about how they were going to divide my properties. Mom is already old and confused, I read Sophia's voice. It is time to act before she realizes and cuts off the money. I lifted my eyes toward my youngest daughter. Are those the words of someone who loves me? Sophia was crying, but her tears no longer mattered to me. She had cried so many fake tears for years that I could no longer distinguish which ones were real. Once we have control of everything, we can sell the properties and divide the cash. I continued reading Sarah's voice. Mom can stay in one of the smaller houses, but she won't be able to give us orders about our inheritances anymore. Your inheritances? I asked them, closing the binder. Since when is my money your inheritance? Since when does the money that I earned with my work belong to you? Mike stood up as if he were going to leave. That's enough of this. Let's go, Sarah. Sit down, I ordered him. And something in my voice made him obey immediately, because we have not reached the most interesting part yet. I took out another folder, this one full of legal documents. Do you know what I did while you were planning to rob me? I changed my will completely. The three of them turned pale as ghosts. Before you were going to inherit $2,300,000 divided in equal parts, each one would have received more than $700,000. Sophia brought her hands to her chest. Mom, you can't. I can't what I can't decide what to do with my money. I can't choose who I leave it to. I opened the document of the new will that Attorney Morales had prepared. $500,000 goes to the St. Vincent Senior Home, where they are going to create a program to protect elderly people from family abuse. Another $500,000 goes to the Hope Valdez Foundation, which will help older women who are victims of economic violence. Sarah had stood up and was walking in circles. You can't do that. We are your children. Oh, yes, and now you remember that you are my children. When you were robbing me, did you think I was your mother? When you planned to declare me crazy, did you remember that I was the woman who raised you, who worked day and night to give you everything? I continued reading. $1 million goes to my grandchildren, but in a trust that they can only touch when they turn 25 years old, and only if they do not live with any of you. And for us? Asked Sophia with a threat of a voice. I smiled for the first time in that meeting. For you, my dear children, I leave you exactly the same thing that you thought to leave me. I took out the last document. For Ryan Mendoza, Sarah Herrera, and Sophia Mendoza, I leave the amount of $500 to each one, the same amount that you considered more than enough for your mother to live on every month. The silence in my living room was deafening. 3 adults who had planned to steal millions from me had just discovered that their greed had cost them everything. But this is the most beautiful part, I continued, because there is still a way for you to change this will. The 3 looked at me with eyes full of desperate hope. You have exactly 1 year to prove to me that you have changed. 1 year to pay me back every last dollar you stole. 1 year to behave like the children I thought I had raised. And if after that year you manage to convince me that you deserve my forgiveness, maybe, just maybe, I will reconsider my decision." Sarah fell to her knees in front of me. "Mom, please forgive us. We will do whatever. Whatever." "Whatever," I repeated, looking at her from above. "Like when I did whatever for you. Like when I worked 18 hours a day so you could have everything. Like when I sacrificed myself for 40 years to build your future." I stood up and walked toward the door. "The year started 3 weeks ago when they arrested Ryan. You already lost 3 weeks. You have 49 left to prove you deserve to call yourselves my children." When they left that afternoon, dragging their feet like punished children, I sat in my rocking chair, and for the first time in months, I felt at peace. I had recovered my power. I had set boundaries, and I had proven that no one, not even my own children, was going to trample on Hope Valdez ever again. The war had not ended, but I had already won the most important battle, the battle for my dignity. Today, 1 year and 3 months after that birthday that changed my life forever, I am sitting in the garden of my new house in Palm Springs. It is smaller than the mansion in the city where I lived for so many years, but it is truly mine. Here there are no ghosts of false promises, nor echoes of laughter that hid betrayals. What happened during that year, I gave them to redeem themselves. Well, let me tell you how this story ended. Ryan served his sentence of 6 years, reduced to 3 for good behavior. He got out of jail last month. Do you know what was the first thing he did? He came to look for me. Not to ask for forgiveness, but to complain that I had destroyed the family and that no mother would do what I did. He still continued to believe that he was the victim in this story. Sarah and Mike made an effort at the beginning. The first 3 months, they visited me every week. They brought me flowers, they helped me with the shopping. But when they realized that my forgiveness was not going to come easy, when they understood that they would have to really pay back the money they had stolen and not just act like affectionate children for a few months, they started to space out the visits. By month 8, they no longer spoke to me. Sophia was the one that hurt me the most. My baby, my spoiled one, tried everything. Tears, emotional blackmail, even bringing my grandchildren to soften my heart. But when I asked her to return the $15,000 that I knew she had saved, she said something I will never forget. "Mom, you are a bitter old woman who prefers money to her own family." Do you know what I answered all of them when the year was up and they came to claim their inheritance? I told them exactly this: 1 year to demonstrate true love, and the only thing you demonstrated was that you continue to be the same selfish people who betrayed me, who, my will stays how it is. Did it hurt? Of course it hurt. For 67 years, I believed that being a good mother meant giving everything forgiving, everything enduring, everything. But at 68, I learned that true love also includes consequences. That sometimes the biggest lesson you can give your children is letting them face the result of their decisions. But this story does not end in sadness, because I discovered something beautiful. Life can start again at any age. Do you remember the waitress who opened my eyes on my birthday? Her name is Andrea, and it turned out she studies psychology at night while she works at the restaurant to support herself. When she found out everything that had happened, she looked for me to apologize for having gotten involved in my family business. That girl who owed me nothing, who was a stranger to me, worried more about my well-being than my own children. And that is how a friendship began that has filled my heart in ways I never imagined. Andrea became the daughter I never had. She helped me move to Palm Springs. She taught me to use technology better. She comes to visit me every Sunday, and we have dinner together while she tells me about her studies and her dreams. When she needed money for her last semesters of college, I lent it to her with pleasure. Do you know why? Because she never asked me for it. Because I saw that she worked 18 hours a day and never complained. because when I told her it was a gift, she cried and told me that no one had been so good to her. That is real family, not blood but respect, not obligation but gratitude, not manipulation but genuine love. I also met other women in my situation. The Hope Valdez Foundation, which I created with my money, has already helped more than 200 older women who suffered economic abuse from their relatives. Some recovered their assets. Others learned to set boundaries. All of them recovered their dignity. And my grandchildren. When they turn 25, they will have $1 million waiting for them, but with a condition that their parents do not know. They can only access the money if they come to speak with me first. I want to tell them the real story of what happened, not the version that their parents have surely told them. I want them to know that their grandmother was not the villain, but the woman who defended herself. My days are now full of things that give me peace. I have a beautiful garden where I grow flowers and vegetables. I go to painting classes on Tuesdays, to a book club on Thursdays. I have real friends, not like the ones I had before, who only looked for me when they needed something. Do I regret having been so hard on my children? Never. For the first time in my life, I sleep peacefully, knowing that no one is stealing from me, that no one is planning to hurt me, that no one sees me as a bank account with legs. Ryan looks for me from time to time, not to ask for forgiveness, but to ask me for money. I tell him the same thing always. When you pay me what you stole, we will talk. He is never going to do it, and I already know that. But at least now he knows that his mother is not the defenseless old woman he believed she was. Last week I received a letter from Sophia. It said that she was going through economic problems and that surely I would not want to see my own daughter on the street. I sent her $200 with a note that said, "This is what I give to charity organizations. If you want more, earn it like I earned everything I have." Do you know what is the most beautiful thing about this?